Hello everybody, we are back. We are back with another episode of cEDH Bling Builds. Today we're going to present some old stick fingers. I know I'm pretty late to the party. Old stick fingers has been around for about 40 years, but I don't know. Something about the deck caught my interest, and when I looked over the cards that are in the deck, I think I was about like 5 cards off from just having the deck, so I picked it up, and that's really what piqued my interest. That and the fact that it has a silver screen foil, which is something I kind of wanted to have access to in the command zone. Stupid, right? What a stupid reason. But old stick fingers. This variant, I know there's several versions of this deck. This version, X needs to be 2. And so what happens when we have Golgari and X being 2? Well, you're going to entomb for 2 creatures. And there are only 2 creatures in this deck. And we'll see that in a second. Now, this is the Bling Build channel. This deck isn't as shiny as it would be. I'm not a Golgari main, so some cards are exclusive to this deck for the most part, and I'm just not really interested in owning their shiny versions. I digress. So salad fingers. So let's start things off. We have both arts, right? We gotta have both arts. That's how we roll in this channel. We gotta have both arts. And the 2 creatures in this deck are Razaketh and Dryad Arbor. Now, once you get these 2 dickheads in the yard, you need to have a reanimation spell to bring back Razaketh and then get the combo going. And so we'll get into the reanimation suite in just a moment, but then you want to start using Razaketh's ability, sacking creatures to keep tutoring, to keep delving deeper into the combo. Now, mind you, this combo seems pretty simple. It's just a Chain of Smog combo, but you really need to practice these lines again and again and again. You don't want to be the asshole to bring a deck like this to a pod, not know the combo inside and out, kind of like an Inala deck, right? You need to know the combo inside and out, so that you're not wasting time at the table and then eventually whiffing the combo because you didn't know what you were doing. But we use Razaketh's ability. We'll sack like a Stickfingers, and we'll tutor up this post-mortem lunge. There's several versions of this in the deck. They get worse and worse and worse, but these are different from the other reanimation spells because they will grant the special summon creature haste. Okay. And we have the Dryad Arbor with haste. We'll tap for green. We'll sack to tutor again, and continue our line from there. So there's Postmortem, Lunge, a Shallow Grave, and Corpse Dance. They get worse and worse, but you know these are good cards. This is an Alo combo, and this is a Dockside Loop enabler. But for this deck, they're just like overly costed, hasty reanimation spells. We have Life and Death, which is a very, very good card for any Razaketh deck. This is why with my scrubby friends, I make the argument that Razaketh doesn't really belong at the helm as the general. It really needs to be in the 99 with a deck that has green in it because of the strength of Life and Death. Death being a reanimate, and Life, it just turns your lands into 1/1 dickheads, which is fantastic because those are all tutors essentially for Razaketh. You have a Chatterstorm, which is another card you could tutor up. Keep track of your storm count on this combo turn, so you get as much value as possible from your Chatterstorm. you'll spam the board off a bunch of, well, not a million, but enough green squirrels. And again, these are all food for Razaketh to continue tutoring and find combo pieces on that turn. So yeah, two very, very strong green cards for Razaketh that he couldn't use alone in a mono black deck, clearly. LED, phenomenal card. Whatever is in your hand has no inconsequential to the combo, because you could just tutor up these other pieces with Razaketh, crank it for triple black, crank it for triple green. It doesn't matter. Eventually, you are going to need to poop out a ton of black mana. So we can do that with a card like Sacrifice. This is a Sharpie border. I'm not that independently wealthy to have a beta Sacrifice for no reason. You have Calling the Weak. There are other rituals, but these, you sacrifice the Razaketh, so it makes some mana, and then you eventually land a Professor Onyx. Of course, Professor Onyx is a static ability. I guess this is flavor text. I don't even know what the other loyalty does, if I'm being honest. We'll go infinite with a Chain of Smog. Bing, boom, bam. Very simple. And then you win. In this deck, we'll also have the Praetor's Grasp, Tainted Pact in this deck. Tainted Pact usually is a really, really strong instant speed tutor, in my opinion, because it grabs the other half of your combo. You have one half of your combo in your hand or wherever, ready to go. Then you use a Tainted Pact to grab the other half. But since there are a lot of cards that are involved in this combo turn, Tainted Pact is essentially a dead card for the most part in this deck, outside of the Thoracle combo. The Praetor's Grasp, of course, will grab an opponent's Thassa's Oracle, and then you'll cast the Tainted Pact and win that way. It happens very, very often. I know it's such a weird inclusion. You're like, this is such a stupid, narrow card. But it really isn't. In the pawns I play in, there are many, many Thassa's Oracles to be stolen. Also, the Praetor's Grasp can take an opponent off of their combo, right? So you slow them down a little bit. You see who it is they're running, and the deck should be built, according to expectation. And so you take away a combo piece from them. Now, with that said, I'll say it again and again and again. With Tainted Pact, if you do have an opponent that is winning through a Thoracle Tainted Pact, make them play it out. I'm being really honest with you, I see a lot of wannabe tryhards who, they grab access to the Tainted Pact in their Strixhaven archive packs or whatever, and they're excited now to run Thoracle Tainted Pact. But their deck isn't built to accommodate the Tainted Pact. They'll have a million of the same basic land. So if you get a feeling that your opponent is about to win through a Thoracle Tainted Pact, but you also sense that they suck, then make them play it out. Monitor what they're flipping, because if they flip Swamp, then they just tutored for a Swamp. Congratulations, you continue the game from there. Just keep your eye out for that. I promise you, it's out there. Don't concede on the spot with the Tainted Pact. Our reanimation package, very, very important. You need to have the reanimation spell in hand to reanimate Razaketh. Let's get into it. We have a classic reanimate, Exhume, Goryo's Vengeance, important because Razaketh is a legendary. You can't use Persist because that is target non-legendary. And then we have a suite of these reanimation auras like Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead, and Necromancy. Now you're not always going to have that reanimation spell in the hand ready to go. Once Old Stickfingers could be cast for 4. So we'll use a tutor as a pseudo reanimation spell because we're going to tutor it up, right? So we have the usual suspects: Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, Demonic Tutor, and then the quality just gets worse from there. We have a Demonic Tutor. Mausoleum Secrets. Tuna, what the fuck? Don't you read the card? Yes, you dickhead. I read the card. But with X being 2 creatures, if that happens first, I could sit for a while because it's going to happen so quickly. I don't have to worry about like graveyard hate so early in the game, statistically. So with 2 creatures, I can grab a reanimate, exhume, anything like that, any plethora of cheap black reanimation spell. All right. We have a Dark Petition. Dark Petition is an interesting card. I've always had it as part of my collection. Back in a simpler time, when Thassa's Oracle didn't exist, it was a lot of like Doomsday Gush Piles. Of course, that doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it could exist, but it's kind of trash. It's kind of slow. Because a Doomsday Gush Pile requires you to have, a cantrip to crack the Doomsday Pile, which is really slow. Usually that pre-Thoracle Doomsday Gush Pile meant you needed like 4, 6 islands in the deck, which is a lot. So Dark Petition, for 3 and 2 black at sorcery speed, you get any card, okay? But if you have Spell Mastery, which is a weird mechanic. I think if your graveyard had at least 2 instants and sorceries, in the yard, then you will get the card, any card, and then you get to float 3 black mana, and that pays for your Doomsday. So essentially, Dark Petition became a card. This is pre-Peer into the Abyss, Turbo Naws, Thoracle, of course. But for 3 CMC, essentially 2 CMC, you tutored up your Doomsday. Very, very easy peasy. But it makes a cut in this deck because I just need all the tutors, baby. And a Wishclaw Talisman. We have a crop rotation, whatever. Entomb, just in case I land my Giant Arbor, right? Then I could just entomb the Razaketh. And Noxious Survival. Sometimes you will get the Razaketh in hand. That sucks. We have a handful of ways to deal with that. The other tutors, the other rituals that we haven't seen yet, of course, the usual Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, and Reign of Filth. Our counters package, we have a Veil of Summer, Autumn's Veil, and a really underrated card, Imp's Mischief. For 1 and a black instant speed, it's just a misdirection. They try to counter you, you misdirect it, target the Imp's Mischief. They try to finger bang you, you misdirect it, target some bum. The only thing is, you'll eat damage equal to that card's CMC. Who gives a shit? Phenomenal, a black soft tutor, soft counterspell. For our draw, not amazing. We have Adnaw's, Peer into the Abyss, and a Night's Whisper. Now, sometimes you're not going to be able to get that super quick salad fingers for 4. So you're going to have to play like a long, like bullshit game of just interaction, because that's really the only thing this deck really has to offer outside the combo. Kill this, pop that, stuff like that. And so we have a pretty thick removal package. We have Assassin's Trophy, Abrupt Decay, a Nature's Claim, a Force of Mob Vigor, Calling Ritual, Slaughter Pactorino, Ulcerate, Snuff Out, Toxic Deluge, Massacre, Yahini's Expertise. To this day, I still believe that this is a really cool card. When it first came out, I bought like 20 copies of it because I was like absolutely sure that this would like be that good, be that sought after. But no one plays this card, and I don't know why. It's really, really good. Really, really good. At the time in Modern, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I could sweep the board and drop a Liliana of the Veil. So amazing. But I don't know if people play this card. I don't know. I think it's good. This could be a dismember. I don't have a dismember. I'll double check. But I guess this could be a dismember. And then some cards to deal with the Razaketh in hand, right? Because you don't want that asshole in your hand. You're gonna have a problem if he's in your hand. And so we have Collective Brutality and a Bone Shards. Discard the card. What is this? Escalate and discard the Razaketh. And now that problem is taken care of. The rest. Starting things off with our enchantments, we have a Sylvan Library, Carpet of Flowers, Wild Growth, Utopia Sprawl. When your opponents play a Utopia Sprawl, babysit them, make sure that they're not cheating. And then this gets worse. We have a Fertile Ground, and this is a goofy looking card. Man, that's some goofy looking shit. Gaia's Touch, common rarity. So this is like a card I'm trying to work in Pauper EDH. For green, you get to play an additional land. Cool. And you could sack it to make it 2 green. This could be your X equals 2. I could put a Squandered Resources in this deck, but I sold mine a very, very long time ago when I started scrapping Yidris. What else is missing from this deck? Some rocks. I think like a Golgari Signet is missing, and Llanowar Wastes, the Shockland. The Painland is missing. These are cheap $1 cards. I'll pick it up. The final version of this list will be in the description below, so follow that Moxfield link if you want to see the evolution of this deck that I will most likely just play for one weekend. Rocks, we have a Jeweled Lotus, Lotus Petal, Springleaf Drum, Mox Amber, Chrome Mox, Mox Opal, Mox Diamond, a Fellwar Stone, not as strong in a 2-color deck. Someone's bound to be in green, someone's bound to be in black. An Arcane Signet, Talisman of Resilience. This is goofy. A Painted Prism, which is fine because it has Sunburst. You pay a black and a green. And yeah, just like that. This is not limited to once per turn either. So it kind of like acts kind of like the same way as the Gaia's Touch. A Mana Vault, a Soul Ring, a Mana Crypt. Our lands, we have all 8 fetches. We have a swamp and a forest. Excuse the paper. I just sold my unhinged land cycle, and so I'm looking for something, a different bling land cycle to fill in its place until I eventually get a guru land cycle. I'll be crazy, right? We have snow swamp and a snow forest. You gotta make these type of compromises when you're running Tainted Pact, right? You don't want to short yourself on fetch land targets, but you also need to make sure that everything is a singleton copy. We have our shock land and our duel. We have our horizon land and our battle bond land. We have the give me that mana super quick lands like an ancient tomb, a city of traders, and a crystal PP vein. Very, very good cards. Our colored lands, we have a gemstone cavern, Cabal Pit. Cabal Pit is a phenomenal card. You have several cards like this, several lands like this that you sack them to punch somebody, which is really important, especially in this current metagame where there are a ton of these like annoying hate bears on the board that like impede you from like continuing your combo and stuff like that. And so whether it's a Cabal Pit or a Barbarian Ring, or you know, I always make the argument if you're running more than one basic, make sure that it's snow because they're interesting snow cards that have synergy with snow. So you have a Mouth of Ronan or whatever it's called. You know, all very, very strong cards. You know, just to be able to punch the annoying Staxy thing in the mouth. Boseiju, of course. We have our command tower, a gemstone mine. This will be the land war wastes. Not that good of a card in this deck because usually, you know, once the third counters off of this, it dies, and so that's one less land you can sacrifice under your life and death. Tarnished Sigil, amazing card. I know the paying 3 to make a color is a lot, but it has an upside where you know you just make a colorless for free. Mana Confluence and a City of Brass. So there you have it. There you have yeah boy, old Stickfingers. I don't have a Solid Fingers impression. Do I have a Solid Fingers impression? Oh, the nettles. I don't. I haven't watched that in a very, very long time. Anyway, I better late than never, right? But let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. In the meantime, ta-ta, and take care of yourselves.